Coming in at number 10, Johnny Depp threw his phone at Amber, causing injury. This is definitely one of the biggest ones on the list. The initial case against Johnny that he harmed Amber physically exploded onto the internet back in 2016 after the former couple got divorced with irreconcilable differences cited as the reason. Although they had initially made a joint statement saying that the divorce was amicable, it very quickly got ugly when Amber filed a restraining order against her former lover. During the case against him, she alleges that Depp threw a cell phone at her during a fight, which struck her in the eye and the cheek, and that he claims he screamed at her, grabbed her face, and pulled her hair. She also submitted a photo of her face all bloodied and bruised. But documents later falsified this claim when LAPD officers who responded to the call during the time of the fight stated that they found no evidence of any crime having taken place. In the current defamation case, Heard's lawyers subpoenaed the LAPD, which basically means they called the cops to court. I guess during these current suits we'll see more of an elaboration on that fight, but as of now that's all we have. Number 9, they both claim that neither party has made false accusations for financial gain. In August 2016, after their divorce had been officially finalized and settled, the pair released another statement saying, quote, "Our relationship was intensely passionate and at times volatile, but always bound by love. Neither party has made false accusations for financial gain. There was never any intent of physical or emotional harm." Fast forward to now, the claims that neither party has made false accusations has been completely turned on its head. Not only that, but financial gain is at the forefront of these cases. Currently, Depp is suing Heard for $50 million, and she is countersuing for $100 million. I'd say that lines the pockets pretty well. Number 8, Amber donated $7 million to a children's hospital. After their divorce was finalized, Amber pledged that she would donate $7 million of the money that she got from Johnny to the American Civil Liberties Union and the Los Angeles Children's Hospital. In 2021, a New York judge partially granted a petition from Johnny to determine whether the donations had actually been made. What was found was that she did not in fact donate the money, but had planned to do so. Quote, "My client is still planning to donate one half of her total settlement to the ACLU and the other half to CHLA. And while it is undetermined what those payment schedules may be, she has already made the first payment toward the pledges. She fully intends to continue to give the full $7 million, but she can't do it yet. She will do it when she can. But she has given a significant amount to both." What's the holdup, Amber? Coming in at number 7, Amber Heard wrote her op-ed insinuating that Johnny hurt Amber's career. In the now famous Washington Post opinion piece that Amber Heard wrote that spawned the defamation case, Amber alleged that her divorce from Johnny Depp had practically blacklisted her from Hollywood. Quote, "A movie I was attached to recast my role. I had just shot a 2-year campaign as the face of a global fashion brand and the company dropped me. Questions arose as to whether I would be able to keep my role as Mira in the movies Justice League and Aquaman. In fact, Amber had barely lost any traction. She didn't get her name taken off of Justice League, and she's doing just fine filming for movies as we speak. But Johnny Depp got fired off of Fantastic Beasts, and he's barely been in anything these days." Although Amber cried victim herself, it is extremely apparent that that isn't really the case. Number 6, Amber told the court that Johnny had pushed Kate Moss down the stairs. This claim was basically instantly debunked and shut down by the court. Based on a kind of old rumor, Amber voiced unsubstantiated claims that Johnny Depp had pushed his former girlfriend, Kate Moss, down the stairs after she stood up for her sister during a fight. The lawyer defending Johnny said that she was basically making up accusations as she went along to try and paint him in the worst light possible. Number 5, Amber's sister lied to the court defending Amber herself. The 3rd week of the trial of Johnny Depp against The Sun, a magazine that published a piece calling him a wife harmer, Amber's sister was called to testify for The Sun. Then, the day after her testimony, when she claimed that Amber had never hurt her or harmed her in any way, a video was sent to Johnny's lawyers by an anonymous source which disproves that statement. Depp's lawyers claimed that the video demonstrated that the sister had lied and tailored her testimony to, quote, "meet her sister's evidence." The footage in question was a clip from a reality show featuring Amber's sister claiming that, quote, "I can't believe Amber beat your ass." Number 4, he said, she said in the current court cases. One thing is definitely clear. Both Amber Heard and Johnny Depp have harmed one another. Text messages surfaced that show Depp very clearly stated that he wanted to end Amber's life by burning her and doing awful things to her corpse. Meanwhile, we've seen tons of lies on Amber's part in her attempts to cover the own harm that she has done against Johnny, as she continues to claim to only be a victim rather than playing equal parts as the perpetrator in this extremely obviously toxic and insane relationship. Coming in at number 3, Johnny Depp's self-inflicted wound or not. In the 2016 Sun article Libel Trial, Johnny Depp claims that Amber had cut part of his finger off in Australia during a fight when he was there to film a Pirates of the Caribbean movie. It was later revealed in a voicemail to his doctor that Johnny had in fact cut his own finger off. The voicemail recording reads, and just so you know, a bunch of this will be bleeped by the way to keep it family friendly, quote, "Hi. Had another one. I cannot live like this. She is as full of as a Christmas goose. I'm done. No more. The constant insults, demeaning, belittling, most heartbreaking, that is only released from a malicious, evil, and vindictive. But you know what? Far more hurtful than her venomous and degrading, endless educational ranting is her hideously and purposeful, hurtful tirades and her shocking treatment of the man she is supposed to love above all. Her obsession with herself is far more important. She is so ambitious. She's so desperate for success and fame. That's probably why I was acquired. Although she has hammered me with that a sad old man has been I am. I'm so very sad. I cut the top of my middle finger off. What should I do? Except of course go to the hospital. I'm so embarrassed for jumping into anything with her. The world." Although it definitely was after a verbal altercation, Johnny has a history of drinking too much, and it is alleged that he drank way too much that night, had a fight with Amber, and it escalated to an insane degree, with Johnny harming himself after a major depressive bout. Coming in at number 2, Amber may have tried to get her friends to lie for her. In a report that was just posted only moments ago at the time of writing this, Amber Heard's good friend Eve Barlow was kicked out of court for a multitude of reasons. Eve was acting as part of Amber's legal team even though she has no expertise in the matter. It is alleged by the court that apparently she tried to intervene during testimonies from Johnny's witnesses, which is entirely not allowed in a bid to not let the truth come out. She was also very recently kicked out of the courtroom and told not to return because she was live tweeting the processes, which is strictly under lock and key, after she was caught on her phone during the proceedings. Quote, "Amber had her closest journalist friends sit in the front row with her legal team at the trial, live tweeting, texting, and posting information. Even though the court has continually sided with Amber, that can't look great on her to so obviously be having someone leak information." Coming in at number 1, both Amber and Johnny have stated they never hit one another. Both are proved untrue. Now finally, the biggest one of all, and the root cause of all the legal proceedings going on. Whether or not you side with Amber over Johnny or vice versa, one thing is abundantly clear. No one person is the true victim here. While it was determined pretty early on that Johnny had hit Amber, even if it wasn't nearly as bad as she had alleged, it did happen. There is video evidence and voice recordings of aggression and harm against her. Similarly, however, Amber is the only one with a voice recording genuinely admitting to hitting Depp. In a phone call to Johnny, Amber stated, quote, "I can't promise I won't get physical again. I get so mad I lose it." The hit in question was a slap. So when both parties choose to continue to deny any wrongdoing, does that mean that these legal battles will just continue to drag on forever as each person continues throwing accusations at one another with little regard for the truth?
And at number 10, Heard looks like she's snorting something. While Amber Heard was on the stand, it was pretty emotional, so she had some tissues nearby to dry her tears if she got emotional. At one point she decided to blow her nose, but she did it in such a strange way that the internet believed she was actually doing something illegal. If you watch the video in slow motion, it looks like Amber uses the tissue to push something into her nose and then she snorts it. It doesn't look like she blows anything into the tissue, which is generally what they're used for. Theories then started brewing that Heard snorted a white substance into her nose, but many felt it was way too much of a stretch. Then a more probable theory started circulating that Amber snorted menthol, which is a common trick that makes actors cry, especially since under the circumstance, crying would help her case in trial. And at number 9, Amber afraid of Johnny Depp. During the shocking trial, the couple have not had any contact. On top of that, the pair also haven't made much eye contact, mostly because Depp refuses to look in Heard's direction. Recently, while Heard was getting off the stand, Johnny was approaching it, and there was an awkward moment where they were about to cross paths. When Heard seemed to notice that it was about to happen, she looked very startled, then walked away from him. Heard looked like she was physically shrinking and terrified. Taking a step back as court officials immediately turned towards Depp and put their hands up, warning him to stay away. To make matters worse, moments before that, Heard had been testifying about Depp assaulting her with a bottle and threatening to take her life. So clearly emotions were running very high. During Heard's testimony, Depp was not paying attention, doodling and writing in a notebook. And at number 8, posed while on the stand. Another moment that's going viral online shows Amber Heard posing for a photo while on the stand. While she was talking about the time in her relationship when Johnny was detoxing, she had a tissue to her face and held it there until she saw the flash of a camera taking a picture. Even crazier, if you watch the whole clip, you can see that she doesn't even use this tissue, making it clear the whole thing was just for show. Body language expert Dr. Lillian Glass agrees, saying, quote, "Yes, she posed for sure. She had no liquid in her eyes or nose, and she never blew her nose, just put the Kleenex to her nose and kept it there. She snuck a peek at the camera to make sure they had the shot." Obviously, things like this do not make Amber Heard look good, and it makes it seem like she's doing everything possible to get good press. And at number 7, stole lines from the talented Mr. Ripley. Another claim that went wild on social media was that Amber Heard copied the main stories from her testimony from TV shows and movies. At one point, a side-by-side comparison of her transcript compared to the script from the talented Mr. Ripley was posted on Twitter, making it seem like she copied the movie script word for word. But when you actually compare the lines from the movie and what Amber said, you can see that it's not a direct copy like it was claimed. If anything, the storytelling is very similar, but that could just be a coincidence. Depending on what side you're on in this case, you'll probably see what you want to see, but it's not nearly as compelling as the internet made it seem before. And at number 6, inconsistencies in her story. Since the internet is mostly on Johnny Depp's side in things, after Amber Heard took the stand, the internet immediately started dissecting her testimony. Viral TikToks even show people acting out her retelling of events, and it makes literally no sense. In one TikTok, the audio hears Amber claiming that she was sitting on the edge of a couch, then she says how she was on the floor looking at how dirty the rug is, painting the picture that her version of events makes no sense. A tweet breaking down another event said, quote, "I walked out of the bedroom and he slapped me in the face. I turned around to face him and I said, 'Johnny, you just hit me.'" The user pointed out that you can't be slapped by someone and then turn around to face them. Halfway at number 5, forces herself to cry. While Amber was on the stand, she was talking about some very traumatic moments in her past and getting somewhat emotional. At some points it looked like she was getting over-emotional in an attempt to make herself cry. For the longest time, it did not work, and she looked like she was in pain trying to get herself to cry for the jury. Many online were joking that it was the best acting performance she'd given in her life. And at number 4, ACLU donation. One of the worst cases of Amber Heard lying is in regards to her donations to the ACLU, since it's so easy to get to the truth. During her divorce proceedings, Amber went on record stating that she would donate the proceeds from her divorce to Children's Hospital of LA and the ACLU within 10 years. During the recent trial, the ACLU says that she gave them less than half of her $3.5 million pledge. An executive from the company, Terrence Doherty, said that the nonprofit received 4 donations in Amber's name so far, totaling only $1.3 million. Only $350,000 from her directly. Johnny Depp then wrote a check for $100,000, and Amber Heard asked for that money to be credited to her. The organization also says other payments included $500,000 from a donor-advised fund at Vanguard and $350,000 from a donor-advised fund at Fidelity. The ACLU believes a large portion of this money came from Elon Musk, Heard's former boyfriend. And at number 3, Heard copying Depp's outfits. One strange thing that's been noticed during the trial is that Amber seems to copy Johnny's outfits in court. Dr. Shannon Curry took the witness stand and testified that she diagnosed Amber Heard with 2 personality disorders, and one could cause her to mimic her ex-husband Johnny Depp's wardrobe choices. Dr. Curry claimed that Amber's disorder may cause her to, quote, "take on the identity of the people they are spending time with because it's comforting." At that point, fans already started to notice that she was copying Depp's outfits, with some believing it's a tactic to intimidate him. Many fans on Twitter are pointing out the strange coincidence, pointing out how Heard will copy the color and style of whatever Depp wears the next day. And at number 2, hides a water bottle. There might not be anything wrong with this one, but it's definitely strange. So while Amber Heard is in court, she's talking to her lawyers, and then she goes to unscrew a water bottle. Pretty normal stuff. But then one of the courtroom cops comes over and walks by, and for some reason Amber quickly screws the cap back on and hides it in her jacket pocket. This bizarre moment is leading some to believe that the contents of the bottle were definitely not water. The caption on the video read, quote, "Amber Heard and her deeply sus moment in court with her water bottle." And finally, number 1, hid a smile. There have been a few moments in court that have just not seemed to add up. A few involve Amber Heard laughing or hiding a smile either while she's testifying or while Johnny Depp is. A body language expert did an entire 30-minute video on this topic, breaking down one specific moment where Amber Heard's facade cracked, and she showed her true emotion. In the thumbnail he wrote, quote, "One smile exposed her. In the intro clip, we see Johnny recalling a moment with Amber and he says, quote, "It just didn't happen." As the camera pans to Amber, we see a brief smirk that she quickly conceals. The expert notes in the video that he believes she bit the inside of her cheek to conceal the smile. She then blocks her mouth as a reflex to again hide her emotion. The expert continues that it's shocking that she would decide to laugh in that moment when she sees her former partner breaking down on the stand.
Number 10. Mildred Pierce. During Amber's testimony, she begins speaking emotionally about the times that Johnny Depp allegedly hit her. At one point in her speech, Amber said that Johnny slapped her and then said, quote, "He'd rather cut off his hand." That line in particular is directly out of the movie Mildred Pierce after she slaps another character named Vita. Many people believe that this was a line stolen directly from the 1945 film, a drama about a woman whose husband leaves her for another woman. In this film, there's a scene where Mildred, the mother of two daughters, slaps one of her daughter in the heat of the moment after the daughter is angry that Mildred degraded their social status by not remarrying. After she slaps her daughter, Mildred immediately apologizes and states, quote, "I'm so sorry I did that, I'd rather cut off my hand." The lines are definitely similar, but honestly, I can see this one being kind of a stretch given how minuscule and off the cuff it was. Number 9. Notting Hill. Also during Amber's testimony, she spoke about the first time she had met Johnny Depp on the set of their movie. She also describes how the two would fall in love with each other. During this time, Johnny was sober, and to replace his habitual alcohol intake, he drank tea instead. Tons and tons of tea. If you're listening to the trial, the amount of times that she mentions how much he loves tea may have struck you as odd. Many on the internet pointed the similarity to the romantic comedy Notting Hill. It's similar to a line that Julia Roberts says to Hugh Grant about, quote, "He drinks lots of tea." Others think the way that she seemed to mimic Julia Roberts in the tea scene may have been done so to make her appear more lovable and believable. Number 8. I am a killer. Also during her testimony, Amber spoke about how Johnny was around another woman and they were all under the influence of different substances at the time. Amber claims that the woman laid her head on Amber's shoulder and it, for some reason, set Johnny off. She went on to allege that Johnny then grabbed this woman's wrist, twisted it, and pulled her towards him. Amber then claims that he said, quote, "Do you know how many pounds of pressure it takes to break a human wrist?" She goes on to say that Johnny held the woman and she was frozen in his grip. Many people have claimed that this line that she claims that he said is actually a line directly from the Netflix series I Am a Killer. The person in the scene says, quote, "Do you know how much it takes to break a human hand?" The series in question documents the life of a woman with a life sentence in prison for taking the life of her husband in extremely brutal and gruesome ways after he broke her hands. Number 7. Shrek 2. Listen, I know this one is definitely most likely total crap, sue me. It's a bit on the satire side, but we all know Reddit. They would psychoanalyze a goldfish if they could. This moment in the trial was kind of similar to a moment in the DreamWorks movie Shrek 2. In the movie itself, Prince Charming is looking around a destroyed room and saying, "Whoa, whoa, what happened here?" In a TikTok clip that was posted to Reddit, it quickly clips to Amber, who says the exact same thing in almost the exact same way that Prince Charming does. Listen, if you ask my opinion, there's no way she stole from Shrek 2, let's be real here. It is a little funny though. Number 6. True Detective. This moment is very similar to the one mentioned before where she seemed to quote the series I Am a Killer. It's in reference to the part in Amber's testimony where she begins telling the story of when Johnny Depp became aggressive while they were on a flight. Amber claimed that Johnny got into an altercation with a flight attendant, grabbed her wrist, slammed it down, and said something similar to both True Detective and I Am a Killer about how it only takes a few pounds of pressure to break her wrist. One Twitter user was very quick to point out the similarities between this testimony piece and a scene in the show True Detective. Particularly in season 1, when one character states a line extremely similar to the one in I Am a Killer and to Amber's allegations. While I tend to be critical and hesitant towards this whole debacle in general, I do think it's a little odd that if Johnny harmed a flight attendant, why hasn't she spoken out at all, or even stated anything as a witness? I mean, if he's slamming wrists, there's a whole flight of people to corroborate that kind of situation. Number 5. The article. This is something that wasn't stolen from a movie or a book, but it is something that people have pointed out as being blatantly untruthful and in direct contrast to statements that she's made previously in court. Amber claimed during her testimony that prior to her relationship with Johnny, she wasn't a fan of his nor a fan of his art. But fans of Johnny's found an article from years ago. Her claim was directly seen as false. In the article itself, Amber claimed that when she was a teenager, she had photos of Johnny all over her room. A friend of hers had told the Inquirer that Johnny was basically Amber's first love. Quote, "When she was a teenager, Amber had already decided to become an actress, and she had pictures of Johnny all over her room. So it's no surprise they fell in love while working together. Amber usually gets what she sets her mind to." creepy. Number 4, Alpha Dog. In our number 4 spot is the movie Alpha Dog. This one is more of a theory in relation to the trial rather than a direct movie quote, but it's definitely worth noting for a full scope of what is exactly going down. So we have all heard the story of the poo on the bed at this point. If you haven't, it's basically alleged that Amber had left feces on Johnny's bed. While she claims it was her dogs that did so, it's pretty apparent that it belonged to a human. There's a theory that this entire move was a scene from the film Alpha Dog, a movie that Amber herself was in. In the scene, one of the characters, who is under the influence, defecates on his enemy's rug in revenge. It's certainly extremely cinematic, if it is a movie reference. Number 3, Maid. Someone on Twitter pointed out a similarity in Amber's testimony to Maid, when Amber was detailing an alleged instance where Johnny Depp threw a glass at Amber, then punched a wall, and then punched a wall right next to Amber. According to the people who had seen the Netflix show, which is about a woman who is fleeing a horrible relationship to provide a better life for her children, it is said that this scene is actually word for word in the show. While it's definitely possible that real life can absolutely align with television, I think a lot of people are more suspicious than they normally would be given all the examples of Amber seemingly quoting things left, right, and center. Number 2, White Chicks. Next up is the comedy White Chicks. During Amber's first day of testimony, she told a horrifying story where she alleged that she had to call Johnny's sister to help remove him from their home. But as they were all driving in the car, Johnny allegedly started howling out the window, grabs Boo, his dog, a teacup Yorkie, and holds Boo out the window of the moving car. He's howling like an animal while holding their dog out of the car. But people seem to think that this scene was taken straight out of the comedy movie White Chicks. In the movie scene, a teacup Yorkie flies out of the window of a moving vehicle and is only being held onto by a leash. But there's also an Instagram photo that has since surfaced of Amber Heard letting the dog out of the car window. I honestly think this one's definitely a stretch, but you know, what do I know, I'm just some rando on the internet. Number 1, the talented Mr. Ripley. I saved this one for last because it seems to be the most credible moment of Amber actually referencing a movie. It is said during Amber Heard's opening statements when she seemed to directly quote the film wherein a man arrives, showers people with gifts, and then seemingly disappears. The quote people are referencing states, quote, "The thing with Dickie, it's like the sun shines on you and it's glorious, and then he forgets you and it's very, very cold. When you have his attention, you feel like you're the only person in the world. That's why everybody loves him so much." Now, Amber didn't directly say these words exactly, but she does say something eerily similar. When describing her attraction towards Johnny, she talks about how when he was with her, Johnny had a warm glow about him, showered her with gifts, and made her feel like the most beautiful woman in the world. They would be in this bubble for 4 to 5 days at a time before it would suddenly disappear and this monster would take its place.